So, hey, this is going to be a little bit different of a travel chat. I am here with Rick Howard. So, a lot of you may know him as our president, CEO, owner of Must Love Travel. Um, he's been on a few of the travel chat episodes over the last year, but Rick also is the host of a video blog, Travel with Rick, that was around for a long time. Everyone loved it, kind of went away for a little bit, and now he's coming back. So Rick and I are going to be working together a little bit more than in the past. And I wanted Rick to have the opportunity to introduce himself. I mean, I know you as an entrepreneur, a business owner, a passionate travel addict, a born leader, gifted storyteller. And I know that you love to be in an island state of mind. I know that you love to wear flip-flops. So
Yeah.
other than that, tell me a little bit more about Rick Howard.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of it right there. So yeah, my passion is travel for sure. So yeah, we've been doing that for a while. Uh, Leslie, our another part of Must Love Travel, my wife. We've been married for 37 years next month. That's a big one that I'm thinking about. And also we've had Kingdom Magic Vacations, our other brand for Must Love Travel, is celebrating 25 years in 2021 in April, actually. So we've got that going on. Yeah, just a traveling guy trying to maneuver his way through a lockdown and COVID and no sale orders and all kinds of stuff like that. It's tough being a travel guy these days, Jenny.
It is. It's tough being in the travel biz in any way.
Yeah.
It just is.
Yeah.
But we're getting through it, right?
We are. There we
we've had
are.
fun.
Yeah, we've learned things, we've done things, we've stayed busy, we've cleaned out our closets, we've organized our pantries, we've learned new recipes,
Yes.
And I say all those things at home, but we've also been doing the same kinds of things around Must Love Travel and Travel with Rick and Travel Chat, bringing things back, dusting things off, cleaning things up a little bit. So it's bad, but it's good, right?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's bad, but it's good, and you have to find the joy in life. And I know I found it this last year, and a lot of that was doing work with you. So I'm excited to continue to do more work with you now with our videos. So, so I prepared a few questions for Rick.
Do I get a lifeline? Can I call a friend if I don't know the answer?
You can phone a friend. You can phone a friend.
Phone?
One friend.
Right, let me get my phone right here. Okay, I'm ready.
All right. So the first one is something I actually really want to know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to start a travel agency 25 years ago with your wife?
Wow. Well, it's a good thing 25 years ago, I couldn't see 25 years into the future because I don't know if I would have changed my mind or not. But, truthfully, the answer is kind of cheesy, but it's the truth. So I'm going to tell you. So, some friends of ours, Leslie and I, my wife, and some other friends had planned a trip to Walt Disney World, actually planned it for a couple of years. We probably started planning in, 94, 95, or early 95. And we planned this trip for a few friends of ours. Families to go there. It was like 4 couples or something that we ended up going with. And, during that trip, during that whole process and during that trip, and being someone who just loved Walt Disney World, the whole area and the whole concept, not just Walt Disney World, but Walt Disney the man, or a big historian of Walt Disney the man, and the company and the person and all of that. So, just being involved in all of that. And then the kind of the cheesy part of it, if you will, was going there to Walt Disney World and just seeing people not having a good time. I mean, even way back 25 years ago, I mean, think about it. It really wasn't an internet the way we know it now. I mean, there were discussion boards and, Google wasn't even out yet. So there wasn't a whole lot of information. Probably weren't a lot of guidebooks back then. Wasn't a lot of information to help you make the most of the magic. And a lot of people just got it wrong. When you see a mom dragging her kid through the park saying, you know, you will go and you will have a good time. You know, you're thinking maybe something's wrong here. Or if you see a dad saying, I could have saved $3,000 and stayed at home, you know that they're not really in the middle of the magic. And, you know, really it kind of hurt our hearts. And we thought even back then that building a portal, a website that had great information about how to get the most out of the magic, and then developing a network of travel planners that could plan those vacations, that seemed like a good idea to us back then. And that's kind of how we started.
Well, I'm grateful that you started, because I originally started when it was Kingdom Magic Vacations before we transitioned to Must Love Travel. So it's very near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
So, all right, next. And I'm sure you probably could answer this a million different ways, but what's the coolest thing you've ever seen while traveling?
Oh, wow. So, I mean, gosh, you know, I have a quote, one of my favorite travel quotes. I have it on my Instagram. Benjamin Disraeli said, like all great travelers, I've seen more than I remember, and I remember more than I've seen. So if I tell you cool stories, they're probably been embellished a little bit, right? I mean, you know, 25 years of travel. Well, you're 25 years in the travel business, probably, you know, closer to, you know, 50 something years of traveling. Well, I'm 59, so 59 years, you know, my dad was a traveler, my mom was a traveler, so I believe they took me traveling when I was very young. So all those years of traveling, I've built on these stories a little bit. We really have seen some cool things. You know, I remember we were on a scuba diving trip in, let's see, I don't really, somewhere in the Caribbean. We were on a scuba diving trip. Actually, Walker's Key, I do remember. We were on Walker's Key in the Abacos. And it was the last day of our trip. And back in those days, dive medicine and dive trips have changed a little bit back then, but Abaco is just a really short flight from Fort Lauderdale. So we had a morning dive. Normally, if you're flying or traveling the same day out, you wouldn't dive in the morning. So I'm going to tell this story for all of our dive medicine people out there. I'm going to tell it this way, but it was okay for us to dive the last day of our trip since we didn't have, you know, a long flight or anything. We were good. So we loaded up on the boat. We had an afternoon flight home. We were going to get one more dive in before we left the island that day. And we loaded up the boat. We're just getting ready to take off for our morning dive. And Walker's Key is a tiny little island now because they have their own airport there. It's just a single strip, little runway. I mean, it is just, if you miss the runway, you miss the island. You don't just miss the runway, you miss the island. And, you know, we were on the boat just getting ready to take off when we heard a plane crash. And everybody came running down to the marina, and everybody meaning everybody that was up at the resort and whatnot, screaming, a plane crashed, you know. We kind of, you know, knew from the sound that's what it was. So we were already on the dive boat. We already had our gear on the boat and everything. So we literally just took a few more people on the boat and took off and went out to the plane. So we were the first boat. We were actually the only boat that ever came there, and basically ended up pulling a couple people up onto the dive boat. And everybody, thankfully, everybody got off the plane safely. What happened was, just to kind of give you the real quick story, and you probably didn't expect this long of a story, and I do have a couple of other cool things, but what happened was a little twin engine plane on takeoff, a seagull flew into one of the engines.
Oh, come on.
And, yeah, and so it killed the engine. And I'm not a pilot, don't understand these things, but when a plane, particularly on takeoff, loses one of its engines, it's not like half power, it's like a lot of the power. So plane just basically went right off the runway, right? I mean, it already started to take off, but it went right into the water. So we got there, you know, thankfully, again, we pulled all the people out of the water. I've still got photos. I didn't go in the water because there was a lot of fuel and things like that going on. Barry, the guy who runs the dive operation there, he grabbed some gear, went down, started pulling people out, and we just started taking photos. He actually took our underwater camera down, took some pictures of the plane. So that was not a cool thing, just, I guess, interesting thing.
That's wild. I was not expecting that at all. I don't know if you saw my reaction, but like that literally just popped my brain open. Yeah. Whoa, that's wild. Well, that's wild.
You know, and then just all the other things that you can imagine, all the waterfalls in Norway, you know, all the green pastures in Ireland, all the another dive trip I remember, I don't know if it was the same trip, but it was the same place in Abacos. I remember Leslie and I were just swimming along scuba diving, and we must have saw, we swam into a little alcove kind of, like a little reef area, and we must have saw 100 spotted eagle rays come out. And it was just like, it was like swimming or flying through a flock of birds. We swam through a flock of spotted eagle rays. And it was just, one of those things where if you're a scuba diver, scuba divers kind of know this term. I wanted to swallow my regulator. It was so breathtaking just to see that sight, So lots of cool things. I'll remember some more too. I'll make up some for next time. How about that?
All right. That's the answer. I thought when you started the story originally, I'm like, oh, I bet he met a shark. Like that's where I was going. Yeah. But
I have photos. Yeah, I have photos of laying next to sharks. I mean, there are certain sharks that are more aggressive than others, in the waters, obviously. And living in Fort Lauderdale for as long as we did, we're in Vero Beach now, but years ago in Fort Lauderdale, we went out diving almost every day. It was, years ago, it was just it's not funny. It was just a lot easier back then. Things were a lot different, a lot more commercialized today. But, you get those great opportunities for that, just to see a shark, because sharks are cool. They will lay where we are in Florida, where we used to dive a lot. Gulf Stream goes right along the coast of Florida. So you've got this great current that's just ripping up the coast of Florida. And sharks will lay on the bottom, and because sharks usually are constant moving because they have to have water flowing through the gills and stuff. Or if they're, all right, I'm not a marine biologist, so I'll get all this stuff wrong. So I'm gonna make sure I don't say anything too stupid. But basically, you'll see sharks just laying in the stream, and they just breathe in and breathe out. You've seen all those Nat Geo things with the on the side of sharks where they breathe in and breathe. Just some of the coolest things. Turtles, manta rays, there's probably, if one of your questions had asked me how I got the travel bug, most people probably think it's Disney. It was probably more scuba diving.
Really? Yeah.
That was our early traveling history.
It's funny because I definitely got the Disney bug when I was 20 years old and first went to Disney, but I got the travel bug the first time I went to the first Caribbean island, which was the following year. So yeah. And then actually, I'll just throw in my own story. I went when I think it was the same year. 20 was a good year for me. I had a very good friend that I grew up with who was studying in Spain. She's now a Spanish teacher. So she was doing a year in Spain. And I went and visited her for 12 days. And that's when I think it really just knocked me over. Because it was a combo, because we did Spain, we did Madrid, and then we also went out to the Canary Islands. So it was kind of combo Europe, tropical. Yeah.
And food and wine there has got to be amazing. So yeah.
Yeah. Especially when you're 20 and you don't know anything, just blows you away. Right. All right. Well, I've got one more question for you.
Okay.
What or who inspires you?
Wow. Lots of people. So, different ones for different things. I think right now, and this one again, you lob these up so wonderfully. I don't want to get too cheesy about it. Right now, my wife, Leslie so well.
Yeah.
Leslie's an ultra runner. Right now she's training for a 100-mile race next month. Through all of this nonsense, this COVID stuff, she just stayed so focused, so strong. She inspires me. You and Laura and Bill and our management team here, you guys keep me on my toes. So you're very inspiring for me. All of our advisors, again, we'll just pour on the cheesiness here for a minute, but it really is the truth. Jenny, think about our travel advisors. They've had, and I don't want to paint a grim picture. I know everyone in our country. I know everyone in the world right now at different degrees are hurting. I get that. But, our travel advisors, they've had their livelihood taken away from them for the last 9 months. And as I tell people, friends of mine, when we talk, and they'll ask me how things are going and whatnot, I said, well, our travel advisors still working every day. You guys haven't missed a day at work, right? You still work every day.
Yep.
You have guests asking you questions every day. You have guests rearranging trips every day, moving cruises out, trying to, salvage their vacations that they had planned for 2019, moving them forward. Weddings, think about the weddings that were canceled in 2019 or adjusted, the family reunions, all those kinds of things. Well, our travel advisors have been there every day, still doing that kind of work. The unfortunate thing is you're just not getting paid. What a lot of people don't realize about the travel industry is advisors don't get paid, agencies don't get paid until people travel. And so, it inspires me that they come to work every day and do their job, and they know they're going to get paid one day, hopefully, but they're doing it for their customers. That's inspiring. We talked about Walt Disney, just the whole, he's probably one of the leaders that I look to the most for inspiration. A lot of his quotes come up in our daily work and things like that, but he was a very, very inspiring person. So, lots of people.
Well, those are good answers. Very, very good answers. And I love that you touched on Leslie and our team of agents. Some of my closest friends are fellow travel agents, and just so grateful for this community that we've got here. So
yeah, it's awesome. Great people.
Well, I love chatting with you, and so I'm so excited that we're going to do more of this. We're going to kind of cross over a little bit of travel chat with Travel with Rick, and Travel with Rick with travel chat. So we'll definitely be chatting a lot more on camera. We chat all the time anyways, but now we're just recording it.
Yeah. We do. We talk all the time. It's great. I'm so glad we get to do this. Now we're on a Zoom. A couple of weeks ago, we were together in Vero Beach, and, it's unfortunate that, that we have to do this on a Zoom, but at least the technology is here to allow us to do it. So.
Well, thank you for chatting with me today and answering my silly questions. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I didn't think they were silly at all. I enjoy it. I have to dig those photos up for you of that.
I think you're going to have to do that. Yeah.
I'll tell you one more quick little thing. When we got out there to those people, I still remember this. And gosh, that was probably 30 years ago, even more than that. That was in the probably mid 80s. And we got out there, and the first guy up, he wasn't the pilot, he was a passenger. And the first guy up on the boat, and it was early in the morning, like I said, we were going out for our first dive. And I remember he looked up as we were pulling him up on the boat, and he says, "Not a good way to start your day." I'm thinking, yep, you're right. Not how I wanted to start my day. We were a little weird. I said we flew out later that day. We were a little wigged out getting on a plane and flying out.
Yeah, I would think.
We wanted somebody to go out there and shoo all those seagulls away from us.
Oh my God! Wow. Oh, the poor seagull. All right. Well, thanks, Rick. And thanks
pleasure,
to everyone for watching this week's Travel Chat. We'll see you later.
Come back again. We'll talk again. See you later.
We will. All right. Bye.
If you want to see more of Rick, go to www.travelwithrick.com or search Travel with Rick on Facebook. See you next week.